Hello, John Morgan here, and welcome to this week's episode of Bob's Live. And I'm getting a bit of a late start this evening because I had some projects throughout the day that kind of pushed me behind on editing this week's video. Um, that being said, I also missed last week, and my voice is a lot better now. If you listen to the podcast episode from Friday, I had a couple people that texted me and was like, "Hey, are you okay, man?" I had a killer cold last week. I ended up going to urgent care on Tuesday, getting antibiotics, and I am still kind of stuffy. So if I mute tonight, it won't be because I just forget to unmute myself. It's probably because I need to cough. Um, that being said, we do have some featured videos tonight. And one of them, the weather was kind of changing, and I thought, I shot this back before I got sick. Maybe I'm a little late on it and I need to come out with something else. And then we started having rainy weather again. So, in our featured video this week, I am taking care of a garden task that it's one that you can do if you have gas powered equipment and it's a nice rainy day outside like today. So the sun's starting to come out here at Bob's. We just had a thunderstorm that rolled through right here in Mason. But yeah, it's been a rainy couple of weeks, and I know, myself included, trying to get my garden in the ground, it's been a challenge. I felt terrible last week. I missed Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Luckily, I do computer work. I can do some of it remotely, but yeah, I had to kind of stay at home and recover last week. Thursday evening, I was starting to feel a little bit better, and I just downed some medication and went out and nearly died planting my beans and corn because I knew I just had to get them in the ground. So, with that being said, let's take a look at the weather. Oh, yes. Patty says that she got some plants in, but no mulching. I'm in the same boat. I got some of my garden planted, but I have like 4 bags of mulch still laying to be put on. I was out working Thursday, and I was just like, I can't do it. I've gotta go back inside. But yeah, looking at the radar right now here in Mason, we're kind of flanked by thunderstorms right now. And I keep getting notifications. I had to mute my phone because I get notifications every time there's a lightning strike in the area. And yeah, my phone's been going nuts. But right now it's 80 out. Feels a lot warmer because it's so stinking humid. It is like being in a sauna outside. And then if we look at the upcoming forecast, it looks like we're going to start to clear up heading into this upcoming weekend. So we're kind of rainy up through Thursday. And then we're finally getting some sunny weather coming into next week. But with that comes those summer temperatures. So we're looking at highs up in the kind of lower to mid 90s next week. So we're kind of getting our first heat wave of the season, I guess you could say. So yeah, I mentioned the podcast. Patty says I gotta take care of myself. Yeah, sometimes you do. You just have to push everything to the side. I've got a whole pile of stuff now, including some lawns that really need mowed. But yeah, you just gotta kind of take care of yourself. Gardening, although it is kind of everything for me, it's my bread and butter, but At the end of the day, yeah, I gotta take care of myself. If you want to hear sick me, go check out this last episode of the Keep Growing podcast. So every Saturday morning, we put out the Keep Growing podcast. It comes out at 8 a.m. It's on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music or Podcast or whatever their platform is called now. It's on YouTube. And then it's also on Apple Podcasts. And it goes out to a bunch of other smaller podcast distributors too. So whatever app you use to listen to podcasts, most likely you can find the Keep Growing podcast. So check it out. It's a quick 5 to 10 minute every Saturday morning, and it walks through the gardening week ahead. So what are the gardening tasks according to the WVU Gardening Almanac, the Farmer's Almanac, and then also the phase of the moon. And then we also take a look at the weather forecast for the week ahead in most episodes. Now here, I've got the green screen behind me. I don't have my calendars. I've got calendars stuck on the wall behind me normally. Here at the end of July, I'm going to be heading out on vacation, so I'm going to be pre-recording some episodes of the Keep Growing podcast. So those won't have a weather forecast in them. Excuse me. So let's jump into this week's video, and that is doing an oil change on my rototiller, and then also taking a little quick peek at the garden.
Well, I'm here in my garage. I was planning on getting the rest of my garden planted this evening, but like most of this spring, it's decided to rain. In fact, right now, this rainstorm isn't even showing up on radar. I don't know at this point. Like, I have plants that need to go in the ground. It's pouring the rain. And I know a lot of you are in the same boat too. So, yeah, it's been a tough spring with gardening. And I was up the other night, out here late, tilling up the garden. Now I'm going to have to till it again.
One day, it started raining, and it didn't quit for 4 months. We've been through every kind of rain there is. Little bit of stinging rain and big old fat rain.
Alright, since this evening is a wash, quite literally, I'm going to do another garden task that some folks kind of forget about, and that is rototiller maintenance. Now, you see me do previous videos on this tiller with changing out an idler pulley on it. This thing is just a few years younger than me. Now, the motor on it is a lot newer. It's a cheap Predator motor from Harbor Freight, but the rototiller drive portion and all that is a Troy-built Pony that is almost 40 years old. And, well, this evening, the engine itself is due for an oil change. So, it's pretty easy to do. This motor holds about half a quart of oil. So, all I need to do is drain it and swap it out. So, let's get started on it. Alright, so I have this little pan that I use for oil changes. And then what I do is I take it and dump it into a larger container that I take for recycling. There's a little bit of dirt there on the drain plug. Make sure that's off. And then
dipstick is over on the other side of the tiller. Now I'll go ahead and remove it. That way it drains good. And always with the crescent wrench, you always either have it too loose or too tight. Yeah. There we go. Come on, tighten up for me. Oh. All right. Now I think I got it adjusted. Yeah. Oh yeah, there it is. Okay. Alright, so while the oil was draining, I also went ahead and took out this plug. So this engine has two different plugs. This one goes on this side of the engine, this one goes on the other. And the purpose is basically this is foolproof when it comes to adding oil to it. You remove this plug from this side, fill it until oil starts to come out this side or gets right up to that level, and you know you've filled up the engine to just the right level. So it takes about half a quart, so I generally go off the side of the jug and then just kind of use that as a secondary indicator. But now that our oil's drained, we can go ahead and pop the drain plug back in and then put in fresh oil. Make sure I get the plug nice and tight. It was on there pretty tight before, so I think that's pretty good. Alright, so now I'm ready to add my oil. I just bought some Mobil 1. It takes 10W30. This has, you know, all the dinosaurs and minerals that this engine needs. Really, it's not too picky. Getting pretty close to the halfway point. So we should be getting close over on the other side. Whoop. Okay, yeah. do believe, oh yeah, that is just the right amount of oil. So as you can see over on this side, actually might have went a little bit over half a quart because I do have a little bit of oil running down the side. But oil is up in the threads there on the little indicator plug. I'm going to go ahead and screw it back in. And then before I move my oil drain pan there, I'm going to make sure I wipe everything down with shop towels and try to get as much oil off of it as possible. Okay, that's nice and tight. And our little dipstick goes in on this side. And we should be good to go. If this is overfilled a little bit, that's actually okay, because this motor gets tipped forward when I make turns because I have to raise the tines up out of the soil. And when I first put a Predator engine on this rototiller, I had an issue with the engine cutting off. And what I didn't know is there's actually an oil level sensor right here. So this little yellow wire coming out. If that sensor goes dry, like when I tip the tiller forward, it'll cut the engine off. So actually what I've done is I've disconnected this sensor, and that way it doesn't cut the engine off when I'm making a turn at the end of a row. So that's a trick that I learned by watching people that actually put these on a lot of go-karts. Because in a tight turn on a go-kart, the oil shifts to one side of the engine. And if you have this hooked up in a go-kart, it could kill the engine. So that's a little trick if you've got one of these Predator engines. And well, that is an oil change, and it should be good to go for this season and probably the next season too. This motor, it doesn't see a lot of use. So it's usually good for a couple years between oil changes.
Yep, it wasn't supposed to rain at all this evening.
Alright, while I was inside doing the oil change, it did stop raining, except there is another thunderstorm on the way. But last night I worked on this bed, got it planted. It has all my peppers in it. So on this side I have, let's see, they're Big Bertha bell peppers. And then on the other side is salsa garden. So I've got a little bit of sweet and spicy. And then over here I have my snow peas, which they're producing peas right now. I've got some that are just about ready to harvest. And then it's also full of bloom, so I'm going to have more peas going into the coming weeks. Right behind it, where I had the, I think it was green arrow peas, they actually didn't germinate that well. So that section of the garden was kind of empty. And what I just now seeded right there is a little patch of dill. So that way I'll have dill later on this summer that I can use cooking. The other three beds back here, I had broccoli and cauliflower in that back bed, and then I had leaf lettuce and radishes in this bed right here. I've cleaned out both of those beds. I've gone over them with a weed torch to kind of kill off everything, and then I need to give them a till. And in that bed is going to be my tomatoes, and then I'm going to plant summer squash in that back bed. And then over next to it, I have some cabbage that's still kind of producing. Rabbits attacked it a little bit, so I've got to deal with that. But also on the one end of that bed, I'm going to plant a zucchini plant. Now over in my row section, I just tilled it up, had it beautiful. and now it's a muddy mess. So before I can plant in it, I'm going to have to run the tiller back through it again once it dries out, in order to kind of fluff it up so it's ready to be planted. But once that's ready, I've got corn and beans to go in there. So my summer garden, it's coming along, but it's slow. I have to work in between rainstorms, and then also, you know, day-to-day life. I've got a job in the daytime. I've got other responsibilities like mowing the lawn. And, you know, you kind of have to fit gardening in wherever you can. So you're not going to see me planting these peppers on video because I was doing it at almost 10 o'clock last night. And some of us I know are like that. We're late night gardeners. We get out here when we can. And well, that is part of the fun of gardening, I guess, is the challenge. There's always a challenge to work through and overcome. And this spring, it just happens to be the weather. On cue, we've got thunder. But yeah, we've had an extremely rainy May, so finding time to get out in the garden has been tough. And well, hopefully you find time in the coming weeks to get out in your own garden and get everything planted.
Alright, so yeah, that is my gardening experience so far this year, and I know it matches with a lot of you. It is rainy and wet, and half the time the garden's too wet to get in. The other half you're in there fighting, trying to keep up. So you've got weed issues, pest issues like rabbits. I'm spraying repellent. I've got to do a video on it too. I've put up a sonic stake, and it has motion sensors, and it plays like high-pitched noises to scare rabbits away. And so far, it seems to be working, I think. I don't know. I'm kind of playing around with it, testing it out, moving it around to different areas. What I need to do is go get a couple trail cams that I use when I hunt, put those out in the garden, and then I can actually see if it's working or not. So that might be an experiment. But yeah, gardening this spring has definitely been challenging. And well, I guess something we can do is start to look forward to fall. And I thought this week we would head out to the greenhouse and take a look at the start of our fall crops. So let's do that right now.
Hi, John Morgan here, and today I am down at our Fieldhouse location where I have some updates for the start of summer. Or well, here at Bob's, it's actually the start of fall, because right behind me here is our chrysanthemum crop for this fall. So let's check out some fall mums. So all of our mums start off as unrooted cuttings. So we got these cuttings in just about 2 to 3 weeks ago. They were all stuck by hand, and that is the start of their journey to being a fully grown mum pot by fall. So up next, these will get trimmed a couple times to kind of help them start getting bushy, and then they'll get transplanted. And then once they're transplanted, they'll head back out to the greenhouse for a little while to get a little bit bigger. And then they'll go outside to our mum field. Because mums are dependent on day length for their blooms in the fall. So as the days get shorter, that's what triggers them to start blooming. Alright, so if I get down here close for kind of a bird's eye view, I can carefully pull out one of these mums to kind of give you an idea of the root growth. So again, these were stuck just a couple weeks ago, and already they are just taking off. So let me very carefully here pull out one of the mums, and you can just see all of that root growth in there. So these are just about ready to be transplanted. Okay, so not only do we have the mums down here, we also have some more product that's going to be heading out to our stores before the mums. So overhead, let me get down here. We have begonia hanging baskets. So these are ready to go out, and they're heading out to our stores now. But we also have something out here that's specifically for kind of early summer, kind of late June, July into August, to give you a nice new pop of summer color. So let's go take a look at that. So the other thing that we have blooming right now that's going to be heading out to our markets pretty soon are Sunbeckias. So these are an annual Rudbeckia, and they are just gorgeous, and they're perfect for summer, and then they'll also bloom all the way into autumn. So make sure you stop by Bob's and check out the Sunbeckias. And if we check out a Sunbeckia tag here, of course it says summer to autumn blooms. It takes sun to part shade. And if we flip the tag over, we've got our care instructions on planting. Gets 14 to 16 inches tall, which these are pretty much fully grown. And then you want to space them about 18 inches apart. And then for water, you want to keep them well watered. So on these really hot days, once we get into, kind of the dog days of summer, and it gets hot and dry out, you want to make sure that you're watering them consistently and keeping the soil well watered.
Oh. There we go. And well, that is our show for this week. And yeah, so we've got a show next week, week after, and the week after that. And then the next 3 weeks, I am going to be doing some special stuff. So I am going on a trip out west, but we're also going to Cultivate. So up first we have Cultivate 25, which is the largest horticulture conference in the U.S. It gets held every year in Columbus, Ohio. So I'm going to be sharing updates from it. And then I'm going to be jumping on a plane right after Cultivate ends and heading to Salt Lake City. And while I'm out there, I'm going to be doing some stuff for Bob's. So I've got lined up some points of interest that I'm going to visit and get video to share with you guys, because there are some truly interesting plants out there. It's a whole different environment than we have here. They're not dealing with the rain, out in the desert of Utah. But it's a whole interesting biome, and some of the places that I'm going to visit, I'm going to share some really special plants, including some of the oldest plants on Earth. So you'll definitely want to check that out later on in kind of late July, early August, here on Bob's Live, and then also over on our social media. So, well, that is kind of the plan for the upcoming few weeks. Another thing that I forgot to mention, I'm going to be getting a photo contest up and running on our website. So I'm still kind of working out the details, but I hope to have it up and running tomorrow. And I'll be posting information about it on our Facebook, Twitter, or X, and probably doing like a little video to kind of describe it and what we're shooting for with it. What I want to do is feature your gardens. I show my garden and my flower beds and everything a lot. I want to see what you guys have and how you're doing. So, and hopefully the winner of the photo contest, if they're here locally, what I'd like to do is drive out and do a video of your garden or your flower bed. So that is something to look forward to. So start snapping pictures now for it. And well, until next time, keep growing.